Thank you, John and Alan. And this is how the Group B table looks now, with 2 games played. Ecuador on top after that 2-0 win yesterday. Netherlands now also have 3 points ahead of Senegal. And the host Senegal next play Qatar, with the Netherlands next facing Ecuador. Stephen, you were the one with the right prediction. The Dutch winning it just about and very late.
Yeah, they had that little bit of quality when they needed it with the goal from Gakpo. Great cross in from De Jong, and for a moment in the game, Senegal, they were pushing, but they just lacked a little bit of conviction themselves and confidence to feel like they could really go and win the game, and that's all it was. Because for the second half, the Dutch weren't great. They were pretty poor for moments, gave up chances, and it took right till the end of the game for them really to go and win. And that was in the last minutes getting the actual the final one, but I think for the most part of the game, they'd be disappointed with the way they played. But getting those players back, deploy back as a talisman, it was a big effect for that last goal for them. And you kind of feel they're going to grow in confidence going on this. But neither team really kind of covered themselves in glory, I think, with the performances.
Yeah, big win for the Dutch, wasn't it? I mean, it didn't look likely for such a long time there, but they're there now.
It was a fairly even contest, Claire, and there was a lack of quality when it came to crosses and the final pass or shooting. But as Stephen said, the Dutch finally found a bit of quality. De Jong, who I thought had been poor in the game, I was expecting a lot more from him. He finally came up with the goods, and he put in a lovely cross come pass for Gakpo, who timed his run very nicely and knocked it past Mendy. I didn't think Mendy had the best of games in the Senegalese goal, and they obviously missed Mane big time because they were poor in front of goal. Although they did get a few shots on target in the second half, but Noppert, who made his debut today, that's Van Gaal again gambling.
Taking a risk.
It's amazing, to put a lad in his first game in a World Cup important match like that. So he played well. He made some crucial saves when the Senegalese had a bit more of the play in the second half. Good contest. We didn't know which way it was going to go, but in the end, the Dutch got there in the air, and they look good now for qualifying as top of the group.
And a risk throwing Depay in as well, but obviously a positive that he got a run on.
Yeah, risk, but something they obviously felt like when they seen him warming up, when we thought he wasn't going to be involved, then you see him warming up in the first half of the match, you're kind of feeling, well, can't really be struggling if they're getting him out there to warm up, and then to get him on, it's only 15 minutes gone the second half, and they introduced him, so they obviously felt he could get through it. Maybe they wanted to get minutes into his legs and get him ready for those latter stages. But this was a big game for them. It's important that to get off to the groups with a win was huge, and he did have an influence in the end, and he just offers them something different than occupying those 2 centre backs and giving other players positions, like where his was for the goal for Gakpo, he was occupying Koulibaly, and then Gakpo was able to make the run across. So just even him on the pitch makes a difference for them. But overall, they'd be delighted with the win. They'll know there's massive room for improvement, though.
So Senegal may still have a say in this group, though, don't they? They have Qatar coming next, so they'll be able to possibly bounce back there.
Yes, they should. I should think they'll beat Qatar, but it'll come down to what they can do against Ecuador. Ecuador, a big, strong side, also have some good attacking players. So Senegal have given themselves, I wouldn't say a mountain to climb, but a difficult match in the last game. I still think that they'd probably come through.
Yeah, and the group, I suppose, not as open as it was looking at 0-0.
No, and I think Senegal will be disappointed that they didn't go after a little bit more. There was moments in the game where they could have built momentum. After they got a shot on goal, they could have really kind of stepped it up, and the Dutch were kind of sitting back and weren't really imposing themselves in the game. So I think they're going to look back at this with a little bit of regret that they didn't take a chance to kind of...
Yeah, they would have been delighted with a draw.
Yeah,
I think against this Dutch team, they would have been delighted to get off to, without losing the first game. So they'll be disappointed.
They will, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but we saw again, Van Gaal, that experience and that, just the pedigree of the Dutch, I suppose, probably came to the fore, didn't it?
I don't think so, Claire. There was very little in the game. There was a bit of quality finally that the Dutch found with the pass from Frankie de Jong and a good run. But apart from that, and I think Alan said it in commentary, the Senegalese were probably the better team in the second half. I think the Dutch just shaded it in the first half, but Senegal were better than the Netherlands in the second half. But there was very little in it, and it came down to a bit of quality and maybe some bad goalkeeping as well.
Liam, the game was crying out for a goal, and finally it came from Gakpo.
Yeah, good move. Memphis Depay was involved. He brings De Jong into it. Patient with their build-up, the Dutch. That's Depay knocking it back to Frankie De Jong, and he finally come up with a quality pass that we hadn't seen from him all the game. Times has rung Gakpo, but you have to say the keeper Mendy, if you come off your line, you've got to get the ball. He's got to take everything there, man, ball, everything. But his timing is completely wrong, and it was the breakthrough the Dutch needed.
Yeah, much longed for a breakthrough. And then Klaassen came off the bench, 99 minutes. They like their added time. We've had lots of added time today, and he made it secure. Yeah,
it's a long ball on the field, and Coop Miners comes across, wins the header, but Depay he's sharp, he's on the shoulder, he's making a run behind, which is good to the hamstring testing out. Does really well, opens his body up, 1v1 Koulibaly, gets a shot away. Then he doesn't cover himself in glory again. He should probably tip this further away. There's not loads of pace on the shot, but Klaassen, look, he's coming a long way to follow this in. Fresh on the pitch, these are the 3 substitutes they made, and he gets a nice, hard, decent strike on it, and Mendy can't keep it out. And, you know, this is, 2 or 3 minutes to go in the game, 6 minutes in at a time, and, you know, it does kind of flatter the Dutch a little bit. I think the 2-0 win it looked a lot better on paper than what the actual performance showed. But that's the difference, isn't it? Just those little moments in the game where you take them on, keeper makes a mistake and you pounce, and, you know, 3 subs coming on and making a huge difference in the game, and that's what it takes.
Oh, that was a good shot from Memphis there. Yeah. That was creeping in that far post. But the goalkeeper, if he goes, he mustn't palm it out. He must touch it around for a corner kick, not push it there, because you're bound to have a Dutch forward following in. So he didn't cover himself in glory at all. He's having a poor season for Chelsea as well. So he'll have to improve if Senegal want to go further in the competition.
No, they did have some chances. They were perhaps unlucky not to get anything.
Yeah, they did. And, you know, some of them, again, the first half, this is De Jong getting caught on the ball, gets pressurised, loses it, and they pounce it. And this was kind of how they were creating chances. It was the Netherlands giving the ball up. This one is a off-the-shoulder spin. It's a decent hit. Keeper pulls off a good save in the air post, gets down well for a big man. This one is Sarr again, pulls it back to Gay, edge of the box. It's a decent strike. Keeper, that was good side of it, good 2 hands. And then the last chance comes to them here. It comes back out, back inside. It's a snapshot from Pape, and he gets them well.
That was
his best save, yeah. And I said all of that 6'8" height that we talked about. He's a big goalkeeper. We did well getting low down there, and
that was creeping in.
Yeah, it was
the near
creeping.
post.
It was, yeah.
He kind of elongated those big arms.
Go gadget arms, gets there. But you know what? That's
elastic man.
That's what it takes. It takes for your goalkeeper making saves, and he did it. Push him around the corner, not pushing him back into danger. On the other end, Mendy pushes it back into danger, and they can see the goal. And that's the differences. And Senegal, you know, a little bit more conviction, a little bit more confidence in themselves going forward, and they could have caused them more problems, but they didn't, and they were the best chances they created.
Yeah, so it's a case of job done for the Dutch. They beat the best side in Africa today.
Yeah, oh yeah, Van Gaal will be absolutely delighted with that, absolutely delighted. But you could see that losing Mane was a huge blow for Senegal, because Memphis Depay came on, showed a bit of quality in that last period of the second half. They didn't have that option, Senegal. So a bit unlucky that they've lost their star striker before the tournament. They've still got a chance of getting out of the group, but without Mane, I can't see them, you know, beating the best success story of an African team. I don't see it happening.
Do you think this could be a tournament where the European sides will come to the fore again? I know everybody fancies the big South American too, but
when you look at the Netherlands, and you kind of feel like they didn't play extremely well today, but they got the job done. There's moments at the end of the game where they needed a piece of quality from De Jong, who was, to be honest, he was probably at fault for a lot of chances that Senegal created. Trying to be too clever in his own half, but then that final moment where he has to put a telling cross in, Gakpo makes a good run, good goal, and you know it's a work in progress. They're going to look at this, analyse it, see what they did wrong, where they were kind of overcomplicating things, and realise that against a team with better forwards, they'll probably get punished. So can they move on and progress? And that's, you know, but the job's done, wins in the bag, and they've got a great chance of progressing now.
And it's quite a condensed tournament, so that could throw up issues as well, and people have to cope in tournament football with lots of things along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be demanding physically. You're going to need your whole squad of players. I thought Van Gaal used the substitutes very well today. England have made a great start, scoring 6 goals. So I think Europe is going to be strong, but we've got to await the Argentinians and the Brazilians coming out, Claire, and even the Uruguayans. I fancy them as a dark horse this year.
Just in terms of the game today, Stephen, as well, I'm not sure how well it comes across, but we're obviously far away this side of the world, but it's a little bit devoid of atmosphere, isn't it?
Yeah, it does seem a little bit lackluster from the stands, and there's points there showing clips of the crowd and empty seats and not a full stadium, and I suppose that was going to happen with this World Cup. I think with everything that's gone on in the background, people are reluctant to go there, and it's going to tell. When you get into those last stages, you're probably going to see more influx of fans, people really paying to come and watch that cutting edge stuff. But yeah, it wasn't a great atmosphere there.
There's 3 factors really.
Yeah.
There's no culture of football there. There's no following. The league is, it is what it is. The problem people having with human rights. A lot of people said, I'm not going to that World Cup. And the cost of it, Claire, is incredible. So you put all those 3 things together and you're going to get empty seats. But I agree with Stephen, as the competition grows and it gets bigger, the stadiums will be full. Probably of fans who are come to support their own nation. Ecuador last night was tremendous. They had brilliant support.
It's going to be foreign influxes of fans. It's not going to be the locals. I think if you had to fill a stadium with locals, it'd be a quarter of the population.
Yeah, well, we saw yesterday, and obviously the hosts aren't doing too well in terms of football. Just today as well, the crowd was announced apparently at the stadium as being 41,721, which is 70% over capacity. The stadium holds 40,000, so there's a bit of fake news thrown in there with everything else.
No, FIFA wouldn't.
No, that's it.
No way.
It doesn't surprise you, with everything else that's gone on. Like they're trying to make this out that everything's going smoothly, everything's going to be top notch, everything's to the best of its ability. When in reality, the cracks still are there, but everybody's still going to be there for football. They're watching to see what happens. This is nonsense.
It reminds me a bit of South Africa. You remember South Africa 2010? Stadiums weren't full, and yet FIFA were saying, it's capacity crowds.
Because they just saw this also saying
they make themselves a laughing stock.
That you could go to multiple games in one day, they told us before this. That seems highly unlikely.
They were saying that logistically it was going to be the best World Cup because everything was so close. It was all built for one purpose, for fans' easiness of getting around it. But, there's talks yesterday of fans not being able to get to the game, overcrowding on the public systems. Everything was built, this infrastructure was all put in just for this one tournament. So, there's going to be moments where it's going to fail and it's not going to be there. So, but I think, you get to the latter stages and then you'll start seeing full stadiums. But it's going to be pure influx of fans wanting to go over and see their team succeed.
Yeah, and if the host nation likely will be out by the second game, so that's going to deflate the atmosphere over there, surely.
Well, I don't think there was ever going to be an atmosphere, Claire, But what was surprising today is they didn't see more Dutch fans in there.
Yeah.
Like the Dutch are one of the best supported teams in the world. But all the things I talked to you about there, I'm sure it's had a bearing on this. Now, if the Dutch go further in the competition, I'm sure they're going to be buying tickets to get out there without any hesitation.
Yeah.
The initial games, I think we're going to see plenty of empty spaces.
And to add to the issues today, then, FIFA had to issue a statement just before the England game saying a lot of England supporters had trouble getting in because there was a problem with the ticketing app.
Yeah, so again, another thing that they wouldn't want to be happening, they want fans to be actually getting the stadiums. They need to show that they've got full houses, even if and we're talking about camera shots. We haven't seen many camera shots of opening up expanse of the stadium, and obviously we're restricted to what we're going to get from them, and that's done intentionally to maybe show, and I wouldn't be surprised if you hear noise, crowd noise being pumped in and stuff like that to make it seem better, but listen, it is what it is. The players are going to perform at this level, and for the fans, if you're going to go all the way there and struggle to get in, that's a disaster. I mean, that's something that has to change. You can't be expecting fans to be paying a fortune to get out there and not actually to be able to get in the stadium.
And not be able to get in. Just a quick word from both of you before we sign off. Big night for Wales coming up. Against the USA. It's really exciting times for them and their followers. Yeah, they haven't been to a World Cup since 1958 when they got knocked out by the great Brazilian team, Pelé as a 17-year-old. So they've waited a long time for this and they'll want to start well. And I think they will against the United States. I think there's probably more quality in the Welsh team and they'll be looking to finish second in that group to England, I say. Gareth Bale striding out onto the world stage tonight.
Yeah, huge talent, absolutely phenomenal player. not at the peak of his powers like he was, but the one thing is when he puts on that red jersey, he puts on display. He's dragged them to some of these competitions, and he's been so good for them. Alan, I think, won't play today. He looks like he'd be a miss. So they're going to have big performances.
Ramsey's been a big player for them.
Ramsey's been massive as well.
You take Ramsey and Bale out of the Welsh team, and they just don't qualify for these Euros or these World Cups. So let's hope for those two. They've been great pros. They've been great servants to their country. Let's hope that they play well and they get through to the next stage. It'll be good to see.